Hey everyone, Once Bitten here with the Battle Report. So yet another practice game for Buckeye Battles. This is my last practice game, Beastturds versus Kingdom of Equitaine. This is my third Kingdom of Equitaine game in the last week, and it's against my third opponent on it, and he has a really different kind of list. So he's this is the first time I've played this guy. I think he's a real solid player. I think he's been playing this for many years, but he's relatively new to the Equitaine army and is just now in the process of buying models for it. So uh, you'll have to forgive his use of proxies, many of which are unpainted. But in exchange for that, he's using a list that is just a really different approach than what I've ever seen before, which I found really neat. I complimented him many times on his list. I think it's the kind of list that takes some finesse to play with, and well, you can see what you think about that. So starting on the far right, he's got a unit of 7 Knights Aspirant. They have the Crusaders upgrade, and in with them is a spellcaster, different kind of horse. You can tell which one it is. All of these are Path of Heavens, and I must say all the 3 Knights Aspirant units are the same, so they're full command. Again, Crusaders upgrade, spellcaster. So there's them. Then he's got a unit of 4 Pegasus Knights, and then that eagle model on the front right is his general. It's a lord on a hippogriff. The full army list is in the description, but I can tell you that he kind of let me look at his iPad, and I glanced at his list, and I wasn't paying attention. I just assumed this is like a hero level character on a Pegasus. I didn't realize this is a lord level character on a hippogriff. So that was a nasty surprise when that came up. That was just laziness and sloppiness and not really caring, because it's just a kind of a play around game. Anyway, a larger unit of Grail Knights, again with a spellcaster. In these ruins, he has 2 trebuchets, 2 peasants with crossbows, 2 units of peasants with crossbows, and then 2 more units of Knights Aspirant with the Crusaders upgrade with spellcasters. And they may have banners, I don't know, but basically it's that. So I thought that since I thought that I didn't have to force my way to my opponent, that he has me outranged at first, but once I'm ambushing with 2 units of 20 Wildhorns, that advantage is going to go away very quickly. So I figure I don't have to go to him. He has to come to me. I'm just going to hide behind the hills so that when he shoots at the trebuchets, they have to scatter and whatever. In hindsight, I guess it scatters. It's going to hit something if I'm all bunched together. It might have been better to spread my stuff out, but whatever. You can see what I've deployed: Chariot, Feral Hounds, a couple Gortach, Minotaurs in front of them. Dogs in front of the Minotaurs, dogs in front of my Wildhorns, and my Wildhorns. Really, I'm just thinking I've got plenty of time. I can vanguard the dogs. I can. There are no dogs in front of the Minotaurs, by the way. They're to the right. I really just want to keep my dogs alive for now, so they can chaff up where I need them to be chaffed in the future. I've got a Chariot in the woods, Mongrel Raiders, where you see them. Gargoyles behind the impassable terrain, so they can, if any comes around the corner, they can see him, but they can't be charged. So I kind of like where they're at. This is after Vanguard. Yeah, you can see I'm taking my dogs to the right. I'm just trying to get them to the left. It's actually kind of awkward. I don't know in hindsight what I was doing. Go to Kingdom of Equitaine turn 1. He's zooming over as quickly as he can. Crossbow shoot at my Chariot. I don't know why I put him where I did. I don't know why I should have just backed up some and been out of range, but obviously I wasn't thinking. So I did a couple wounds there. Let's see. We can do a magic phase, and he gets the spell off. You target 1 unit, does D6, strength 6 hits, and on a 3-up it bounces to another unit. So he hits my Minotaurs. It bounces to my Centaur Chieftain, then it bounces to the Gortach, and then it finally quit bouncing. And yeah, killed the Centaur Chieftain, did 4 wounds to the 1 Gortach. We go to the shooting phase. He aims for the sky and scatters off 2 inches, but the central hole is still barely touching his base. And so, as far as we could tell, that means he gets the the high strength multi-wound thing and easily kills the Gortach. So I'm thinking all this bunching up, and he still basically gets a direct hit. Kills some more Minotaurs in the process. I think that's with the second trebuchet. And now I'm regretting my decision to put my stuff where I did, because it didn't matter whatsoever. So Beast Herd's turn 1, it looks like this. I ambush on with one unit of Wildhorns. The other unit did not make it. I'm going to go back one. If you look at the top left, my Gargoyles charged a unit of Knights. I declared the charge because I thought I was in his flank. And then after I moved him up in his flank, my opponent's like, no, you're in the front. And then, we move him back, and you can't really tell, and it was close. So I just said, screw it, and just put him in the front. I wouldn't have made the charge intentionally in his front, but I didn't want to pull it back either. There's my ambushing Wildhorns. Magic phase, I throw, I think, 3 dice to move a unit of dogs farther up and out of the way, and I roll 2 6s. I used the lore attribute to move my spellcaster out of the unit, and lucky I did, because then I rolled my miscast and I rolled a 3. I did not get sucked into the warp, but I did suffer a hit, and because I moved him, I didn't hit my unit, so I got that going for me, I guess. After combat, the Gargoyles kill one of these guys, but they easily win combat and overrun, which just sucked. Go to Kingdom of Equitaine, turn 2, and overall it looks like this. I think he charged one of my units of dogs. Well, both my dogs unit. One unit I think fled off the board. The other unit's fleeing, and his Grail Knights and the unit of Knights on the left all had failed charges. There was some decisions to make here. It was actually kind of interesting, but I was looking at all the time at if he charges one or the other, what's the overrun? All that kind of stuff. I didn't want to flee at the dogs, but I felt that I pretty much had to at that point. Really, really bad positioning on my part. So there's that. So here on the far right, I took a Gortach up, and I threw it right in my opponent's face. I'm like, you know what? Charge me. I am not worried about those Knights aspirant charging into the front of this Gortach, and I'm not worried about a hero level character and a Pegasus charging into him. Well, that's when I found out this was a Lord level character and a Hippogriff, and I'm like, oh, that was a wasted Gortach. Okay, all right, fan-freaking-tastic. Something died right there. Oh, my spellcaster, the unit on the left that had the failed charge, had some kind of magic missile. It shot and killed my spellcaster. After combat, the Gortach's dead. His general just barely doesn't make it to my chariot. And we go to Beast Herd's turn 2. So just really bad positioning, a little bit of bad luck, and I feel like the Beast Herds are fighting their way out of the corner. So overall, the table looks like that. My second unit of ambushing Wildhorns comes on at the top middle. Chariot charges this unit. That is not a given. That could go either way. It's hard to get past his armor. There's the ambushing unit. This unit charges his one of his trebuchets. After combat, I kill a couple, and it's just not enough. Everybody sticks around. And up here, we kill the trebuchet, overrun to the second trebuchet, panic a unit of peasants. I'm losing a few models because of dangerous terrain test, because he's in ruins. And we go to Kingdom of Equitaine, turn 3. So his general flies around to threaten my rear. I really like that build, by the way. If you can keep him alive from somebody who has cannons, I like that he's so mobile and so hard hitting. His Peg Knights, I need to read up on the new Pegasus Knights, because they are so much better than what Bretonnia had in Warhammer Fantasy 8th edition. Anyways, Peg Knights are on the right. His Grail Knights do some really funky, I don't mean that like against the rules, but some real funky maneuvering, just to march and wheel to get as far away from my units as possible and offer a front to everything. So they were right in front of my Wildhorns on the right, and now they're way over where you can see them. They had to take a few dangerous terrain tests, and they passed them all. Meanwhile, over here, there's both his unit of Knights Errant. I want to say they must have fled. I think they fled a charge for me, and then this turn they didn't rally, and his peasants didn't rally. Over here, this time around, I think I kill another knight, but he beats my chariot and overruns, gets those points. And over here, we beat the second trebuchet. I did not overrun, because I figure if I want to charge that Grail Knight unit, and I do want to charge them, it's going to be dangerous terrain tests already, so I didn't want to take a dangerous terrain test to overrun and then take it again for the charge. If I fail the charge, I don't have to take it anyway. I get Swift Stride in the flank, so I should make it regardless, so they just stood still. So we go to Beastlord's turn 3. Now, on my last turn, I got the Direwolf Totem off on the Minotaurs, so they are plus D3 plus 1 inches to their charge. They needed to roll a 6. I charged the Minotaurs to the front of the Grail Knights and the ambushing Wildhorns to their flank. Believe it or not, the Minotaurs had an easier charge than the Longhorns. The Longhorns needed to roll a 9. I decided not even to roll with the Longhorns. Put the Minotaurs in. They just need 6, and they roll a 3. Of course, that bumps to a 4 because of the champion, but a 4 doesn't do me any good. They needed a 6. So meanwhile, I've got these Wildhorns in the flank of freaking Grail Knights. That's not going to do anything for me. Just... Ugh. Ugh. That's just a waste of points. There's that. I get the plus 1 attack armor piercing 2 totem off on these guys. I rolled irresistible force, so I believe that means that the totem goes away in the future, but as of now they have it. And there's that failed charge. Oh, that was frustrating. After combat, yeah, we do nothing. We do nothing, nothing, nothing. And he reforms, and he's certainly going to slaughter those guys now. Kingdom of Equitaine, turn 4. I think he's starting to rally everything. His Peg Knights in general combo charge my my general's unit. I think, and my opponent, I believe, agrees after the fact, I think this is a mistake. I think it'd been better off going against the Minotaurs because he's charging these guys. I'm going to be stubborn, and then my Minotaurs can countercharge into the rear of those Peg Knights. So I really think this is a huge blunder on my opponent's part. I think if he charges the Minotaurs, he ends up crushing them. That symbol on the lower left means these guys have plus 1 attack on armor piercing 2. So my opponent issues a challenge. I could have accepted the challenge to tie up his general and then just hope to do some wounds to his Peg Knights. I decided to go ahead and put my general there because I thought that I'd have a really decent chance of surviving, and then I would have 5 attacks, re-rolling to hit, re-rolling to wound, armor piercing 4. I thought I had a pretty good chance of putting a real hurting on his general. What I wasn't thinking about was his general's on Hippogriff. And that thing can attack too, and it can stomp. I'm just dumb. I'm dumb very, very often. Over here, the peasants charge into the flank of that unit. It doesn't matter. They don't need the help. And yeah, I don't know what's going on over here. Something happened, I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is a miscast in the magic phase, and nothing happened. I mean, so it doesn't cast a spell, irresistible force, rolls a 5, so we lay the small template down, so it's a strength 5 hit on everybody in the unit, and doesn't take a single wound from it. After combat, my general has taken 2 wounds. I'm so lucky to even be alive, and he doesn't do a single thing to his other general. At this point, I'm thinking that was a mistake. I should have fed him a champion. Meanwhile, my troops can't do anything against Pegasus Knights. I think I did 1 wound to them. So that was disappointing. And over here, my ambushing Wildhorns, of course, got demolished. And luckily, the Grail Knights didn't overrun into the flank of my other unit. They tried. Of course, I think they lost maybe 1 knight to the dangerous terrain. We go to Beastlord's turn 4. The Minotaurs charge to the flank of the Peg Knights, the rear of the Peg Knights. The Wildhorns march and get around out of line of sight of the Grail Knights, and my Chariot charges his unit of peasants. I take 4 dangerous terrain tests and pass them all amazingly. And then I got lazy on the bottom. And it was pointed out to me later, what I really should have done with my Mongrel Raiders is lined them up 1 wide all the way to the board edge, so that I should win this combat by a bunch because the Minotaur is charging the Peg Knights, and his general is going to break. I should have put them in a line behind the general so that he would automatically flee right off the board, and I just wasn't thinking. There's that. After combat, yeah, so Minotaurs absolutely demolished the Peg Knights. I don't know if he had any left. If he did, they caught him. We broke my general survived. He has 1 wound left. Which I think is kind of amazing. Although I do have the gnarled hide totem up. We broke his general from combat, and my even though he had Swift Stride, my general's unit was able to catch him. So go figure. We didn't go very far, though, because we were stopped by my own unit. I'm just facing an awkward position. And, of course, my Chariot beats his peasants. And we go to Kingdom of Equitaine, turn 5. So Grail Knight's turn to face where my Minotaurs are at. His Knights Errant in the top middle charge the flank of my Chariot. I would have fled, but I would have had to flee through that dangerous terrain. I think my Chariot's down to 1 wound remaining, and I'm thinking I would just die from that. So let's just the Knights Errant will be frenzied, so we'll carry them into the dangerous terrain, and they'll have to take all those tests. Meanwhile, down here, this depleted unit of Knights Aspirant charged the flank of my Minotaurs. I was like, wow, okay, all right, let's see how that goes. There's that. After combat, he actually won combat. I couldn't believe it. But anyway, you can tell I think I did, what, a wound to him? Maybe 2? And anyway, so he won, so we lose Frenzy, but we were able to not only pass our break test, but also reform, and now I have no doubt the Minotaurs are going to crush that unit. Meanwhile, over here, my Chariot dies. He overruns into the ruins and doesn't suffer a single dangerous terrain. And we go to Beast Herds, turn 5. So overall, so if in the top, the ambushing Wildhorns charge the flank of that unit, and my general's unit just turns around. I'm actually purposely staying behind the hill because I don't really want to get in combat with those Grail Knights. Mainly because my general has 1 wound left, and I think he can allocate attacks on him and just kill him. Yeah, so there's this. And after combat, yeah, Minotaurs beat up on the unit, and they're standing on top of the hill, and the Wildhorns in the ruins win combat, but really not by much, and the Knights Aspirant with the Battle Standard Bearer just reform to face him. So now we go to Kingdom of Equitaine, turn 6. His Grail Knights charge my Minotaurs. He needs like a 3 to get him, and I'm like, I'm not frenzied anymore. I'm just going to run, because if I stand, they win absolutely. I have 0 chance. If I flee, he might catch me, but I rolled an 11. He wasn't catching anything. So I got away with the Minotaurs. Yeah, there's that. Sometimes the better part of Valour is discretion. And yeah, so when I get flank charges with ranked up units and I can't beat people with a flank charge, and then they just have to reform and beat me, it makes me frustrated taking that unit. Those 20-man unit of Wildhorns are just worthless against stuff like this. And then we go to Beast Herds, turn 6. There was nothing to do. I couldn't really charge anything. I rally my Minotaurs. They were on 10 rerollable, and the game ends. So, what? The Beast Herds have the General, the BSB, the Longhorns, the Minotaurs, the Mongrel Raiders, and the Kingdom of Equitaine has a BSB, 2 units of Knights Aspirant, maybe I think it's 1 or 2 spellcasters, and Grail Knights. So basically, I think it was a draw. If it was a win, it was a minor win for the Beast Herds. I wasn't happy with how they played this game. I felt that there were times when the dice really went against me, and it was kind of funny because the game just previous to this, I felt the dice were obscenely in my favor, and in this game, it seemed to be the opposite. And yet, in that game, I barely won. In that game, I barely lost, and in this game, I barely won. Still not happy with how I'm playing this army list, and that's a shame because it's my last practice game. I need to figure something out in the next couple of days, or this tournament will be like my last one, roller coaster ride up and down. But kudos to my opponent. Again, I really like his list. I don't think it's a point-and-click list. I think it's a lot of movement, a lot of finesse. I think he played the magic phase very, very well. I think he blundered charging my bunker unit and offering my Minotaurs a easy countercharge. And I think if it wasn't for that blunder, I think he would have won this game hands down. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for watching the video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has a variety of functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like or comment on the video, you can favorite it, you can share it, and of course you can subscribe to the channel. And I encourage you to do any or all of those things as a way of interacting between viewer and producer. As always, I appreciate your patronage on the channel and wish you all the best.